What is going on, Choke Bros and Moogals? I promised myself I wouldn't fanboy over this next guest. It's been a triple triad over these past 3 weeks of people that I've looked up to and how just influenced my entire journey with this podcast. I want to introduce to you the Nice Guy Prince.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Night Sky Prince. You might be familiar with me from videos that I make on YouTube, and I've been on there for, I believe, going on 4 years now. Hard to believe, but yeah.
It's so surreal. Like I said, I promised myself I won't fanboy, and I'm gonna try my best not to.
I
So
assure you, I'm a normal man in real life.
uh, it's just surreal. Like I'm just not literally rubbing shoulders, but I'm talking to people that I've looked up to, and it's just
Mm,
people that I've never thought I talked to. So
right.
how did you start your journey into, like, what was your first Final Fantasy? How did you get into gaming and such?
Oh boy. Well, going back, I can't remember. I can't remember the exact age I was, but my first Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy VII. But it was somewhere around like 10 to 12 when I first played it. It was during that crucial sort of developmental age. I think that's where everyone sort of begins to develop their taste in games. And whatever you play around that age ends up almost being like the stuff you pursue for years to come after that, I almost feel like. And for me, I played a lot of Final Fantasy VII, of course. And then I was also playing some other JRPGs. Everyone was playing Pokemon at the time. I played Quest 64, which definitely has not aged the best. I'm not even sure if it was actually good when it came out. But I certainly enjoyed it as a kid. And a lot of games like that really influenced me. But it was particularly Final Fantasy as time it went along that really sort of shook up the way I perceived video games. Because prior to that, I was playing, stuff like Super Mario 64, which is awesome, great game. I was playing Banjo-Kazooie. I was playing a lot of platformers and things like that. But as I got older and got deeper into like the RPG scene, it made me realize that video games can't just. It's not that they compete with television or movies. They can actually transcend those experiences by actually putting you in the shoes of that character. And that's what really just made me pursue JRPGs and Final Fantasy as a hobby, really.
That's that's actually a great way to put it.
Mm,
I My first was Mystic Quest. My
mm,
fans are probably getting tired of hearing me say it, but it was really Final Fantasy VII that really just I played the demo. My friends were older, so they had the PlayStation. I was still with Sega and the Super Nintendo, and
mm,
I played Mystic Quest because my buddy had it, but he ended up getting the demo, and I went to his house, and it just took my breath away. The music, the graphics back then. Not if you look at them today, they don't really live up to how great they were back then.
yeah.
But they were just mind blowing. Um, but yeah, Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy just really just were for me just games that stuck with me. They hit a nerve that just not. I don't think a game to this day has really been able to bring out such emotions these franchises have brought out.
Mm.
What did you? I love your. I have to say, I love your Noctis cosplay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Actually, that was that was my first cosplay ever. And so when it came around time to create my cosplay name, the Night Sky Prince, that was inspired by Noctis. And so what ended up happening is that, after cosplaying for a while, I started looking into getting into YouTube because
Yeah,
I was looking at side hustles at the time. And I was thinking, like, what could I do to make the bills, like alleviate the bills? And then I heard that wasn't too hard to start a YouTube channel and to get some type of monetization going. And all I was hoping for at the time was to make a couple like $100-$200 extra just to just to help the bills at the end of the day. But what ended up happening is that I made that, and then it kept growing and growing and growing. And so I was like, okay, well then let me just focus on this full time. And so yeah, but the Night Sky Prince name was definitely inspired by my first cosplay, which is Noctis. And so I ended up reusing that cosplay name for my channel. And now I'm more known for that channel than being the Night Sky Prince cosplayer as I used to be.
I actually am a cosplayer myself. I've yet to do a Final Fantasy cosplay
Mm,
because I like to cosplay people I kind of resemble. I've done Ishin Kurosaki from
mm.
Bleach. I've done Jon Snow. Done I haven't really done too many. I did Finn the Human. I've done a couple of different people, but I've yet to do a Final Fantasy cosplay, and that's my. I want to do Wedge
Oh,
in
nice.
not that he's such a great character. I want to do Don Corneo.
Nice.
I'm kind of hefty like him, so. But
Right,
when I
right.
do it, I'm kind of trying to lose weight, and Squall is my ultimate cosplay goal because Squall is probably my ultimate favorite Final
Oh,
Fantasy
Squall's
character.
great. I love Squall. Squall really, for me, in Final Fantasy VIII in general, it's sort of like when I like, really began to observe Final Fantasy fashion. Like I thought like the clothes and character designs in 7 were cool, but that's like 8 is like sort of where like the 2 belts or 3
Yeah,
technically, yeah. That's when like Final Fantasy like fashion like really stuck out to me.
I so looked up to Squall when I was younger. Like I tried to be all edgy and like quiet in school, and I like totally based my personality on him. It's so
Yeah.
funny. Like, oh man, it's just I had a jacket that was similar to his, but mine wasn't as like the fur was more like not as white as his, and I just
Yeah.
totally tried to be Squall when I was younger.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I think we one
I
of
wanted to
probably
go.
probably one of the best.
I
Yeah.
wanted.
Here.
So is 15 your favorite Final Fantasy or?
No, I would say that 7 OG is and
I
I
had
feel
a.
like it was something that was with me for a very long time, both literally and emotionally because of how Versus 13 was. But every time I looked at his character, there was just like um, this mysteriousness and allure to him. And of course, I ended up liking what his final character was too in Final Fantasy 15. So that's sort of been my affinity to Noctis.
I had a. I had trouble playing Final Fantasy 15 when it first came out.
Mm.
It was like
Why
it
so?
wouldn't because it just it was hard to keep my attention. I don't know if it was because I had other games I was playing, but I recently went back a couple weeks ago and I started playing it again, and I can't put it
Mm.
down. Like I've been just doing all the side quests, doing all the monster hunts and stuff, and I'm loving it. I don't know what it was back then that I don't know, but
Yeah, it's a better game now too. So when
yeah,
you go through play,
DLC
yeah, yeah,
DLC. And I
the
can't think
the
of
patches too. Yeah,
15 without thinking about you now. It just I can't think about 15 without thinking about you.
that's great.
But,
Uh,
so what did you think of, the remake? I heard a lot of mixed things. I know Soldier was kinda iffy about it, but we both
oh,
agreed the voice acting is just phenomenal.
oh man. So remake is a good game.
Yeah, the
So
ending is
yeah, the ending greatly concerns me. Some of
Mhm.
the stuff, some of the way the content in the game kind of concerns me. It's a very it's such a good game, honestly, that whenever you talk about these concerns about where they're going in terms of narrative direction, in terms of how they structure some of the content, because you know there was quite a number of complaints about things like padding, like going through the sewers twice, for example. So the game itself is so good that whenever you come to talk about these criticisms, people are a little bit they have sort of a knee jerk reaction to it. For the most part, I thought it was a pretty good game. In terms of gameplay, if we're talking about actual combat, I thought it was definitely a step up from something like Final Fantasy 15. Like the moment-to-moment combat in Final Fantasy VII Remake actually has me fairly engaged. I'm constantly thinking, which is
Mhm.
which is something I can't say that I did too much in Final Fantasy 15, and never engaged my strategic mind quite in the way that Remake does.
15, I feel like I'm just holding the R2 button.
Yeah, it feels more action gamey, which
Mhm.
I wish I could say in a positive light. But even when you play Final Fantasy VII Remake on hard mode, which on hard mode 7R is basically an action game for all intents and purposes. Of course, it's not on normal mode. I would say it's a lot more RPG when you're playing it through the first time. But once you're playing it through on hard mode and you understand the sort of mechanics, it does feel more like a straight action game. And even then, it's a better action game than 15 is for sure. It's really the narrative direction when we talk about that game that sort of leaves me barely concerned.
Yeah, with me, it's just the beginning and all the way up until the end, like the last when you're on the highway and you're escaping from the Shinra MPs and all that. Oh, it
Mm,
was such a high, and it was such a high. It was so great.
mm.
But then you get to the end, and it was like, for me, it's like the whole game was so good, and then you end on that note. That's so. Uh, I don't know. It just
Yeah.
has to be. Are they gonna be able to pull this off, or try to like? I just hope
Mm,
they keep a certain character the way her destiny is meant to
mm.
be, because if they with her and gonna listen for the person that she used to date, if they bring him back, I'm gonna be very upset because the whole change of the impact of their deaths meant so
Right.
much to the characters and like to Cloud and with her death. I mean, they probably gonna know. I don't, for her death, it was such a drive to like go and defeat Sephiroth, and you know what I'm saying, right? I'm not confusing
Yeah, I know
anyone.
I know exactly what you're saying.
It was
Um,
such a drive to go and want to beat Sephiroth, and just if they bring
right.
her back, or if they just don't even, if somebody else takes the fall instead of her, it's gonna be such a letdown, in my opinion.
It made things personal, right? Like,
Yeah, like
yeah,
the
it was all kind of like abstract stuff, but when she was taken from you, that's when it was like, okay, like I'm gonna fight this dude. I'm gonna take him down, and that's like when the struggle got personal.
her and Renoa are my number 1 females,
Oh, they're
in
fantastic.
Rydia.
No, Rydia's fantastic too. The thing of it is that the ending was a good business decision. What remains to be seen is if it was a good narrative decision. I say it was a good business decision because it feels like the game's been out for nearing 7 months now. And we're still talking about it. I talk about it almost daily. I play on Twitch. If I'm playing on Twitch, somebody will come in the chat and ask me what my thought on this and this was regarding where they're going. And so it's something that we've all been talking about as a community for months on end. So
I watch
as a
you more
business,
on
yeah.
YouTube than I do Twitch.
Right. Oh yeah, of course. I think most people probably watch me more on YouTube than Switch because Switch is relatively new for me. But the thing is though is that it's as a business decision, it it was definitely a good idea because we're still talking about it, and that's going to sustain
Exactly.
momentum into part two. The problem is that, or the question rather is it a good narrative decision?
I don't think so.
And right, and right, it's hard for me to think that it is too. Well, for starters, fate or destiny as a concept is very radically different than the themes that we had saw laid out in Final Fantasy VII, where it sort of felt like you're playing in
Death
this
was like
world that wasn't
the
necessarily. Yeah, death was played such an important role, and loss and things like that. And so now they're kind of teasing that they may be dialing back and going away from that direction. And I think we all expected Remake to be quite different. I personally never expected a one-for-one remake, not in the gameplay details, nor did I expect a one-for-one remake within the story content. I expected them to take quite a number of liberties and ultimately to tell a story that was different but had the same point and the same core essence. But I think that when you remove such a core concept like dealing with loss and grieving, like the sort of central death, you might call it, that we talked about earlier. That was inspired by the death of Sakaguchi's mother, and he wanted to tell a story in which death was a real thing. It didn't get reversed. People didn't come back to life, and that's one of the things that really stuck with, I think, a lot of us growing up. And the testament of it is that people would always look for cheat codes and glitches and ways to revive, and it just, that to me is a testimony to to having to come to terms and people just not being able to, which shows how powerful that theme is. And so in the absence of that theme, they're going to have to create something else, something that's more compelling than the thing that has led us to obsess and talk about this game for 2.5 decades.
Mhm.
And it becomes very hard to imagine if this new theme about Destiny can replace the themes of loss and learning to come to terms. If Destiny can somehow be a greater, more immersive theme than what they had before.
Wow. That's
Mm,
fantastic.
mm,
I like that you, Soldier, and the Sky Stick all have different like ideas on it, and I love each of yours.
mm,
It, that's a fantastic view.
mm,
I don't know if they can they can over I don't know if they can do that personally. Take the new I don't know if we call it a concept, but the new idea and overshadow how the acceptance of death and such like that. I
mm.
don't know if you're gonna be able to do that personally. Do you?
Right. Some people believe that they'll work those themes into the theme of Destiny. For me, I don't know if that particularly will be effective. The thing of it is that there are people who genuinely want to see all the characters be happy and the conflict is over and there is no real struggle, nobody dies, and everyone, all the main character ships get married at the end on an island, and then that's how it ends. And they're not objectively wrong in any sense to feel that way. And then there's people like me who really value the themes of loss and identity and survival that pervade the story of Final Fantasy VII, the original. And again, we're not necessarily objectively right to feel in our own way. Everyone just sort of has their own take on it. But here is where I think it gets complicated for Square Enix. Now that they've teased that they'll go in the former's direction, which I talked about, where everyone just lives happy and everything is good and sunshine. Now that they've teased that they might go in that direction, there's going to be a sense of disappointment among people who felt the opposite way. And they will be right in their own way to feel that.
Mhm.
And the thing of it is that if they try to do a quick left turn once they've already teased that, so say they bring those characters back to life, but then at the last moment, they decide, okay, well, we're going to kill them off to preserve the original themes. Well, now you've went and pissed off all the people who thought the characters were going to live and be happy, who that's what they wanted anyway. But then the people who, like me, for example, who thought that those devs had certain meaning that shouldn't be altered too heavy. Now we're not going to be fully satisfied with the way that was probably executed. Not many of us. Some of us might. So
So
Yeah. So Square's kind of put themselves in a position where they're damned if they do, they're damned if they do, and they're damned if they don't. Which honestly, if we're just tracing back to the source of the issue I was describing, if they had not teased the ending in the way that they did, they wouldn't have to have that sort of dichotomy where they have to sort of choose between who they're going to satisfy.
Yep. They kind of, I think they backed themselves into a corner.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
it remains to be seen, but we'll see in part two how it goes. What are you looking forward to the most in part two? Do you have like a favorite scene, maybe favorite character that is coming up?
So I think what I look forward to the most in Remake 2 is really seeing how they're going to handle the overworld. And I know that it's not
Me
going
too.
to be, yeah, I know that it's not going to be a traditional like Final Fantasy overworld where you have like a little cloud and like this sort of exaggerated field proportion. We already know that that's pretty much not going to be the case. So what's more likely is that we're going to have something akin to either an open world, which a lot of people think will happen, and then another subset of people believe that we'll have like massive zones. And I personally fall in the latter and believe that we'll have some fairly decent sized zones. So maybe something I don't think they'll be quite as big as something like Xenoblade or Dragon Quest 11 or even Final Fantasy. But maybe around the size of um, Final Fantasy 12. Hopefully something big and epic like Dragon Quest 11, which had some really great zone design in it. Um, so Dragon Quest 11 would really be sort of the sort of zone style world that I think that they'll actually build. I think doing a true persistent open world like Final Fantasy 15, where literally everything on the map is actually connected and like loads into each other seamlessly. And it's like actually like everything that happens in the game is part of the same persistent map. I don't see them doing that because developing that type of persistent map is incredibly expensive, and I can
Take it
only see
long.
them doing that on something like Final Fantasy 16, maybe, which I feel like they will do. But for remake, which they're doing multiple games, that would drive the cost of part two up tremendously from like what part one was, where they just developed a fairly linear environments. So, and that also means what are they going to do when the next part comes around and people are expecting to fly an airship or do stuff like that? So I don't know. And again, that's another problem too with if they did something like a true open world with in terms of technology, like they would have to probably reorganize the FF7 world map because of the structure of it, because you wouldn't be able to go to certain locations at certain time. So, so then that also feeds into my speculation that it'll probably be zones, because then they can actually control the paths that you're going to. So two locations can still be next to each other, but because of the way the zones are designed, you might have like a mountain or something blocking you off from going that direction, and then they won't have to completely reorganize the way Gaia is currently structured. So
Yeah, I was thinking how they're gonna do the buggy, or if they're gonna even include the buggy from Dio, right? From Gold Saucer.
yeah, yeah. I feel like they'll include that. I feel like,
Pretty
um,
similar to the car in 15, do you think maybe? Maybe a little different?
I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not sure. I feel like it may not be something that you can just actively use to get around. It may just be something that is only used for a segment
Yeah.
and is used as a throwback to that, but doesn't end up being like a mainstay. I would liken it to something like Hell House, where you didn't just like run into Hell House everywhere, like in a random battle, but they put Hell House in that specific place so that you can experience him. I think that's what they'll do there. I don't think you'll be using it too much. I think if anything, you'll probably be riding chocobos to get around faster, and that'll probably be the big mode of transportation.
Chocobo Bill.
Yeah, yeah, I can't wait for that. Seeing the Midgar Zolom and what they do with that
Yeah.
is
Oh,
going to be really interesting too.
pain.
Mm.
I can only imagine how much of a pain he's gonna be. I can't wait to see what they do with Gold Saucer. I hope it's like you got like all the games and stuff. You can still bet on the
Mm.
chocobo races. You could, and
Yeah,
like me and this guy are sick with. You better be able to kiss
yeah,
Dragon King, right? Evil
yeah,
Dragon King.
yeah. So the gold saucer and how you, I mean the way you um I'm pretty sure in terms of like the gold saucer date, it'll
Mhm.
probably be something more straightforward.
Yeah.
Unlike the
Mhm.
original, where they sort of had like this hidden score system between like Tifa, Yuffie, Aerith, and Barrett, and it's sort of like depending on your choices. I don't think they'll do that. I think if remake one was an indication for the scene that happens outside of Aerith's house, where you can have either Aerith, Tifa, or Barrett and talk to them, and it just all depends on a dialogue choice. I feel very confident that in remake two, it'll be something like that. It'll just be like an off dialogue choice, and depending on what you pick, that depends on who will show up and who you'll go on the date with. But that'd be cool. I always thought it'd be cool if they just put like some Persona elements in Final Fantasy and just let you just
I
sort
love
of.
Persona. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm a very big just Atlas fanboy. So I would just prefer if it was just like Persona like, and you could just have those moments whenever you want to and whoever you choose to. But yeah.
Wait. Oh, music wise, I'm a huge fan of Nobuo. Do you have
Mm,
a favorite soundtrack? It's hard for me to choose a favorite soundtrack because from 1 to X and 12 and that was the thing that was the thing about 15. I'm very much driven to the Final Fantasy music,
mm.
and with the stations in 15 and how they had songs from the I love I don't even know what the name of the track the world map theme in 15. Um,
I want to say Valsti Fantastica,
oh,
but I don't know. No, it's like Waltz D something. I don't know. I'm probably butchering the Latin too, but
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm terrible with
yeah,
pronouncing some
yeah.
things,
It
but I
just it
love it
fades in and out though too. I wish it like just continuously played.
so good, and I wish they had more of that because like, more, like, just straight, like, Final Fantasy 15 tracks, because, I
Mhm.
mean, like, the country style song when, like, you're by Cindy or Sydney, I always get her name mixed up, but,
Yeah, Cindy. Yeah.
it just I wish they had more tracks just like because each game had the music, like, with Final Fantasy X, 2 Xanarkin, it
Mm.
just so heart-wrenching, like, it just rips you, like, it just emotion,
All
like, the
right.
ending
Yeah.
with 2 Xanarkin playing is just like, oh, I shed a
Yeah.
tear.
Yeah.
I shed a damn tear every time.
Yeah.
I
Final
can
Final
watch
Fantasy X is probably my favorite OST actually. Yeah.
so good. Movement in Green is probably one of my favorite in, Spirit Unplugged, that guitar,
Mm.
oh my, so
Yeah.
good.
Final Fantasy X has one of those OSTs where it's like every single song on
It's
this soundtrack is gold. Every single song on there is
just so
so amazing. And it's just like there's no bad song on here or a song that I just like would hit skip if it came on my playlist. And by far I think it's actually my favorite Final Fantasy OST, mostly because it has a good blend of Uematsu's track, and then it also has some of Hamauzu's track. And I think Hamauzu is really good at creating these very I'm not a music person, so I'm probably going to sound really stupid to music people, but they're very spriteful. Is that the word? They have like this I don't know, and they
make
have like an atmospheric sound to them too, and then there'll just be like this very like high pitched instrument like playing over it, and it just sounds very beautiful.
yeah, I'm more of a melodic guy myself.
Mm,
I'll pick a melodic theme over, like, a battle theme I don't know why, it's just I feel like the melodic themes, like, they touch something in me more than, like, a battle
mm,
theme. A battle theme amped and such, but, like, a melodic theme, like, in 7, when you're going over the bridge over the Mount
mm.
Coral, and you got "Holding My Thoughts in My Heart" playing, and, like, this you got the sunrise in the end, like, the sunrise shining down on you, it's just like, I don't know, it's like, I don't know,
It's amazing. It's
it's
amazing.
just I can't even think of words to put into it. It's just like a feeling that no other game in a different franchise can give me. Like, each Final Fantasy gives me, like, a feeling of, like, I don't know, like, this not nostalgic, but, like, this sentimental type feeling,
Mm,
and, like, no other game besides Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest can give me a 2 slightly, but Final Fantasy is just it for me.
yeah,
Um
100%.
Are you excited for I have to admit one thing before
What's
we continue. I've
what's
never
that?
played The World Ends
You
With You.
never played The World Ends With You?
No. I know.
Wow.
I gotta get it. I gotta g
You
is that
do.
I gotta get it and play it 'cause
Mm.
I hear so much good things about it, and I know is it your favorite game or one of your favorite games?
I would say it's my favorite game, but yeah, it's definitely in my top list. What's so cool about The World Ends With You is probably the way the combat system works, being able to control 2 characters at one time, and also just the fact that it probably has one of the most interesting touchscreen combat systems that I've ever seen. I don't think that any, touch-based RPG has really ever been able to surpass The World Ends With You, and it's crazy because, there are so many, mobile RPGs out there now, and The World Ends With You still has probably the best battle system designed for a touchscreen ever. So, highly recommend checking that out. You can get it on, either your phone or on your Switch. But if you play it on Switch, do not play it undocked. Play it undocked. Do not play it docked with the controller, because you have to use a gyro pointer, and it's it's
That's how I play my Switch. I shoulda got a light
yeah,
when I originally got the Switch, I shoulda got a light because I'm a handheld guy, and I always
yeah,
like to that's why I love the Vita. I have all my Final Fantasy 1 through 10 on my Vita,
yeah.
and, I'm trying to get most of my Dragon Quests on a DS. I got a
Mhm.
DS is just so hard to come by right now, though, with everything that's going on, and
Right.
in my part where I am on the East Coast, it's just I'm surprised I was able to get a Switch.
Yeah,
Um,
it's tough. But yeah, play it in handheld mode, and it'll be amazing.
that's good that I'm probably gonna pick it up soon because I
Mm.
gotta pick up that and Legend of Dragoon I haven't played. People are giving me stuff for that. I gotta play Legend of Dragoon. So many games on my backlog. I've actually
Mm.
been going back and playing some JRPGs, some Phantasy Star I've never played, and, Star Ocean I started playing for the first time, and I'm liking Star Ocean a lot.
Which one? The
Um,
first one or
First Departure R I've picked up, and then, there's 2 more, First Departure R, which I think is the first one remade for the Switch, and then there's, Star Ocean, there's the one for PS2, To the
you're
End of
talking
Time.
about To the End of Time. I just
Yes,
call them 3, 4, and 5, because that's what they're
then
labeled in. And well,
Last Hope.
they labeled that in the Japanese releases, but they removed the number on the Western releases for some reason.
It's
But
Last Hope, I think.
um, 3, 3, which is the one for PlayStation 2, To the End of Time. That one's actually pretty good. 2 is also the one that you hear the most about. 4 is okay. Like it's not gonna blow your mind probably. I just thought it was all right. 5 5 has kind of become a meme among the
Yeah.
community. It is not talked about in a positive light whatsoever. I still recommend trying it, and always developing your own opinion, but the general consensus on that game is not a very happy one, we'll just put it that way.
Yeah, it was that's Integrity and Faithfulness?
Yeah, which by the by the way, that name, it's like who allowed y'all to put that subtitle on there? That's like God, that's such a
I haven't heard
that's
one good thing about that game.
um okay, so I'll say two good things about the game right off. One, some of the waifu design in there is actually pretty good. And two, it's cool how like all of your party members are in combat. Like it's like some like ridiculous number of characters you can have in combat all at once. And
That's
it's
why I love
actually
Final
cool.
that's why I love Final Fantasy IV, 'cause the number of people, I think, what is it, 5 you can have in Final Fantasy
Yeah.
IV?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure. Yeah. That's back when they had like big parties. I kind of miss that honestly.
me too. I love my favorite is probably the Final Fantasy X party system just 'cause you can switch everybody out so quick.
Mm. Yeah, that's also why just recently so getting into Persona is actually fairly recent for me, but
Actually,
yeah, so I started with Persona 5 Royal and then I went back to Persona 4 Golden, but part of why
good.
P5R stuck out to me so much and what made me into an Atlas fanboy because before that I played like Catherine too and now I'm getting into SMT, but what made me love Persona 5 immediately was when I was playing P5R and I do my Hifumi social link and I unlock character switching in the middle of battle and I'm like, okay, that's it. This is the greatest game ever. Anytime a turn-based RPG allows me to switch characters mid-battle, I instantly love it. It's the greatest game of all time. That's also why I love 10.
As battles have, you could switch people in and out.
It should be in every turn-based game. I strongly feel that way. Strongly feel that way.
Morgana gets on my nerve. Oh, Morgana.
No, I love Mona-chan. I love Mona-chan. Mona-chan is underrated.
I love Futaba. I'm sorry.
Oh man, I think my favorite
She's so
or
cool.
the most well-designed social link story-wise for me was probably Kawakami.
Who's that? That's a teacher?
That's the
That's not
teacher, yeah.
Look, dude, I have a secret crush on her. I try to get with her. I couldn't get in the original. I got with her, and I couldn't. I don't know why. For some reason, like it was different in Royale for me. Like she ended up like quitting her job, and like she won't like let me hook up with her. I don't know what happened. If I said something wrong or what.
That's weird.
Yeah,
I don't think in P5 because I know in P4 there is a way to like kind of reverse a social link, but I don't think that there's a way to do it in P5. So I don't know if something changed there or what between the vanilla version and Royal.
yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of weird. But yeah.
That's my girl. I don't know. There's something about her. I don't
Yeah,
know.
she's great.
I
Yeah,
don't know
she's
if it's
great.
the maid outfit or what.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, this was great. Everybody, please go and check out his YouTube and your Twitch is also the Night Sky Prince. And
Yes, the Night Sky
anything
Prince on
else you want to plug, please feel free if you have anything else.
you can also follow me on Twitter, which is somewhat different. It would just be Night Sky Prince